Yes, hi there. These comments are for KA, and I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the TOEFL online course, the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. And we've been communicating a little bit by Facebook, and you have just sent me what your current TOEFL score is along with your subtotals. You've also sent me what your dream score is, including subtotals. So I have enough information now, I think, to give you some pretty good advice. All right. So I'm going to take a few minutes and go over some things to give you an idea of where you are right now and what you need to do in order to reach your goal. All right. So first of all, you've previously taken the TOEFL. Your scores are 24 on the speaking, 18 on the writing. You got 3 points on the listening and 13 points on the reading. You say, I have no idea how I got 13 and 3 or 5 for listening. I know I did not practice a lot for reading and listening, but when I practiced, I always got over 15 and 16. So I think you've answered your own question there. So you probably do know why you didn't score so high. You just said it. You didn't practice a lot in those areas, right? You say, plus I was not too good with my time, so maybe that's why. All right, so what my suggestions will do is it will help you either listen more effectively or you'll be able to read more effectively and even faster by following my tips. First of all, I know that you made a comment. You want to use my course for 1 month. That's great. I'm going to be honest with you, though. You're looking probably at a minimum of 3 to 6 months, maybe even as much as a year, if you want to reach your goal. I mean, you're talking about going from 58 points out of 120 to 92 points out of 120. So you have a lot of improvements in the writing, listening, and the reading areas, right, that you have to really make before you're going to reach your goal. So here are my 3 suggestions. My suggestion is follow the plan I'm going to suggest to you for a minimum of 90 days. After 90 days, you can take a full-length IBT practice test directly at my website, and you can get feedback to see where you are. All 6 of your speaking tasks will be scored, and both of your writing tasks will be scored. So you have a pretty good idea of where you are in 3 months. Okay, here are my suggestions, starting with number 1. You might want to write these down. Then you can think about it and go over these things. And first of all, my first 2 suggestions have nothing to do with my online course, but they have everything to do with helping you improve your reading and your listening comprehension. First of all, get in the habit for the next 3 months. You want to read about 45 to 60 minutes every day. This is absolutely critical to helping you perform better academically with your reading. What do you read? You choose what you want to read. It doesn't really matter. My recommendation is read magazines, newspapers, and longer books. This is very, very important. My second suggestion is spend about the same amount of time each day practicing listening. You can watch TV, listen to the radio. If you're watching TV, I recommend news, history, documentary, and science programs. You can even record them if you want. Then you can replay them for accuracy purposes to see if you understand what you think you understand. Now, you're not done yet. You're only beginning your study here. With the reading and the listening practice I'm recommending, this is about 2 hours every day. I also recommend get in the habit of note-taking. You want to focus on the main points and the most important supporting points of those reading and listening passages. Now, your notes in the beginning will not be complete. They're not going to be perfect. You'll be missing information. But trust me, if you keep doing this every day, you will become more accurate and more complete in time. Now, using your notes, I want you to write 3 academic summaries each week for the next minimum for the next 3 months. Each summary should be about 250 words. So now you're writing 750 words of writing each week just based on the reading and the listening passages. Now, also, you can do 3 to 5 oral summaries each week. Using the notes from the reading and the listening passages, you can orally summarize the information. Try to do it for about 60 minutes for each summary. I would even suggest record yourself summarizing these reading and listening passages. This is good. So now, if you do this 2 hours every day, and then each week you're doing 3 academic summaries, writing academic summaries, and then 3 to 5 oral summaries, now you're doing several things. You're practicing your reading, which is very important, not just for the TOEFL, but for academic success. You're also practicing your listening proficiency, or your listening skills. You're practicing your note-taking, and then you're practicing your integrated writing and integrated speaking. So these first 2 suggestions, absolutely critical. You got to do this day in and day out, over and over and over for at least 3 months, based on where you are right now. Now, my final suggestion is spend about 2 hours every day for the next 3 months going over the lessons in my online TOEFL course. Here's how you want to do it. So really, there's 3 main things here. You do reading practice every day, not using my course. You do listening practice every day, not using my course. Then you follow my suggestions for note-taking and for writing, and then giving oral summaries. You want to do that every day. Now you want to spend as much as you can. Try to spend about 2 hours every day going over the lessons in my online TOEFL course. Okay, here's how I suggest you do this. Because your overall English language is so low, I would approach my course, first of all, by focusing on the vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation lessons. So each day, here's what you want to do. Each day you'll do a vocabulary lesson, then a pronunciation lesson, then a grammar lesson. Then you go back to vocabulary lesson 2, maybe pronunciation lesson 2, then grammar lesson 2. Then you go to vocabulary lesson 3, pronunciation lesson 3, and grammar lesson 3. So you're doing that so it doesn't become too monotonous. If you just do vocabulary the whole time, you'll get bored, you'll stop studying. So if you do at least each day, you're trying to get lessons in those 3 areas. Follow that plan until you have gone through all of the vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar lessons. This is important because you're building your academic English language proficiency, and you want to start in those 3 areas. Now, once you have finished the vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar lessons, then you can start with the reading and the listening lessons. Now remember, during this time, you're still doing the reading and the listening practice I suggest every day. You want to make sure you do that every day, even when you're doing the reading and the listening practice. But when you start with the reading and the listening portions of my course, you'll start with, let's say, reading lesson 1, then listening lesson 1, then reading lesson 2, listening lesson 2. You'll go through that process until you have finished all my reading and listening lessons. Now, it's very important here. As you do the reading practice, your main goal in my reading section of my course is to improve your reading speed to about 300 words per minute with about 60 to 80% comprehension. That's your goal. And this is going to give you a lot more time when you're doing the TOEFL exam. You'll do much better in the reading and the listening sections by going through my reading and listening lessons first. Now, once you've done that, now it's time for you to work on the most difficult areas of the TOEFL, the speaking and the writing areas. You're already pretty good with the speaking portion of the course, but you still need more practice in that particular area. So my suggestion is you'll go through the listening and the speaking lessons. You'll start with actually the writing and the speaking lessons. You'll do like before. You'll follow the same system. You'll go writing lesson 1, speaking lesson 1. Writing lesson 2, speaking lesson 2, and then you go through until you've completed all those particular lessons. Now remember that in some parts of my course, especially with the pronunciation, speaking, and the writing portions of my course, you will be posting practice tests online for me to grade. Make sure you post them This is very important because if you don't post anything and don't complete any practice tests, you're not going to get any feedback. So the whole purpose of using my online course is so you can get feedback from me and you can see where you are, you can make adjustments, you can determine whether or not you need to study more or less in a certain area based on how you perform on those practice tests. All right, so those are my comments. There you go. So now you have a pretty good plan. And what my suggestion is, follow my plan exactly. After 3 months, take a full-length IBT practice test at my website. You can go to the 8th section of my course to take an IBT full-length practice test, and then you can see where you are. And at that point, depending on your score, then you can make a decision on whether or not you want to take the official TOEFL exam or do you need to continue studying. Remember here, your goal is not to finish all my lessons in 3 months, but your goal is to at least follow my study plan, complete as many lessons as you can, and then take a full-length IBT practice test 90 days from now to mark your progress. All right, K8, anyway, thank you very much for your questions. I hope that this particular video has given you a good idea of what you need to do. The main thing is you got to be serious here. You got some hard work ahead of you. You will not solve these problems easily. You will not solve them quickly. You will solve them by being patient, by being consistent, and by doing regular practice over a few months of hard study.